Clothing Sarge.
Okay.
We're on you.
Zebra 210, check welfare at 3248 East Bellevue. Call reporting that the elderly couple who reside in the home failed to show up to work and are not answering their phones. Caller requesting welfare check and call back prior to going 10-8. 938.
Ma'am, what happened here? Are you okay? Sir, are you okay? Ma'am, tell me what's happening. What's going on? Who is here? Who else is here? Stop. Drop what you're doing. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Drop it. Stay on the ground. Stay on the ground. Just a little bit of background of the process over the last year. We applied for a MRHD grant to get a police training simulator. Through some background and investigating, we decided to go with the Virtua 180 system. It seemed like the technology-wise, it was pretty much at the forefront, and it seemed like we were going to get the biggest bang for our buck from that company. Steve is here from Virtua, and he can probably answer some of the technical questions on the system. We were awarded a $100,000 grant from MRHD. That's huge. That paid for the most of the training simulator. After that, we partnered with Woodbury County, the Sheriff's Office, and the Police Department split the remaining cost, and we were able to purchase the system. Along with the system, we acquired enough weapons that we could train the vast array of officers in Sioux City, Woodbury County, but also we wanted to be able to include area agencies because MRHD is representative of Siouxland. We want to make sure that the simulator is available to the surrounding agencies, even agencies in Nebraska and South Dakota. So once we do get the system up and running, hopefully we'll be able to invite some of those folks over here to train. We've already partnered a little bit with the Iowa Law Enforcement Academy and trained a couple new recruits in the system just to see how it would work. So along with the system, we have a number of firearms, but also very important to our training program was to make sure that there was less lethal options in the training system, and that's another thing that Virtua supplied for us. We have tasers and we have OC pepper spray simulators that go with the system. We didn't want it to be only a firearms training simulator. We wanted it to be an entire use of force and de-escalation type of training for the officers. So the old simulator, the FAT system, was here from the Meth Grant Training Center. And that FATS system has been outdated for probably 8 or 9 years. So it's been quite a few years since we had an up and running simulator to use for the police officers. And comparing the technology of our old FATS machine to the Virtua system is night and day. It's like Atari versus PS3. It's not even hardly comparable anymore. Another advantage of the Virtua system is that over the years, as the new police officers have come on to the police department, they haven't had an opportunity to use a training simulator, and at this point, over half of the police officers on the police department haven't trained on a simulator of this type. The link in the training chain that the Virtua system provides us is to put officers in actual situations as best as we can control them. Officers will go to the police academy, they'll learn the theory, they'll spend time in the law class, and eventually we want to be able to get them on the street interacting with people in all sorts of situations. The training simulator bridges that gap. It gives us an opportunity in a controlled situation to put those new recruits and new officers in those learning situations where they might have to escalate their use of force or de-escalate their use of force. And the branching systems of the Virtua system allow us to do that. The other thing is we can use this for our yearly training for the officers on the street. Another advantage of the training simulator is that officers have a chance to learn on the simulator. They can make a mistake and learn from what they've done right or what they've done wrong through instruction from the simulator operator. The simulator is very realistic. It's a wraparound system. It goes 180 degrees, so the system fills in your visual periphery. It's pretty intense to the point where the company didn't recommend that we put an X on the floor. We want officers to move around, but what I found out is that the simulation is pretty overwhelming, so officers will back up to try to get as much visual information as they can, where I want to keep an X on the floor to keep them pulled into the situation so that they have that realism.
Steve Tnakel and our lead crime analyst, Marie Divish, who's a retired officer, for actually writing this grant. They're the ones who got the ball rolling. Steve and the training division recognized this as a need. It's another tool, and what's especially telling is this is Law Enforcement Memorial Week. Okay, and this is something that, in talking about this, the more training we have, the more professional our officers can be, the safer they can be. This is a tool that will help save lives. It will allow us to detect training issues, expose officers to things that that they might not be exposed to if we didn't have this kind of training available. Also very thankful for MRHD for recognizing this and seeing that it's going to be a useful tool for law enforcement agencies all over the area. I think it's going to impact training and professionalism in the entire area for anybody that uses it very significantly. And then finally, I have to thank the Woodbury County Sheriff's Office. This was a project that we started, but because of our very close working relationship with Woodbury County, we thought it was very important that we partner with them. There are many, many times on many serious incidents where we are working together. And so for us to be exposed to cross-training and having those opportunities to interact and work together, especially in a training environment, that makes us better when we do have to respond to incidents of any kind of large scale or any kind of incident where our officers and the deputies interact. So we're very happy to have the system. I think you guys will be very impressed with how it functions. Any questions? And I'll put on the major. All right.
I don't think I can put that any better than Chief. We are very appreciative, very grateful for this opportunity to be involved in this. We thank MRHD for a majority of the funding for it. We're very grateful to the police department for inviting us to be a part of this. And the other thing I'd like to say is we are also, the Sheriff's Office is grateful to the Board of Supervisors for providing our portion of the funding for this project. It's state-of-the-art training for our people, and it's much needed in this area, just like the Chief said. And we are very, again, grateful and appreciative that we were asked to be a part of it.
So unique about this system, and it was unbeknownst to us when we got it, is there's corrections simulations. So for my correctional officers, they don't get this kind of training. There's no simulated training other than hands-on. So a few of my risk guys have been through, and I can't wait to get the rest of the correctional officers through that staff. So it's not only the street cop, but it's the world of corrections too, that they can go through scenarios.
Well, this award was part of our fall grant process. We award larger grants, and this was the largest grant that we awarded through that last cycle. We actually awarded two $100,000 grants. And if you look at the application of this grant, it was fantastic as far as that quality of life aspect when you're looking at Woodbury County, for Woodbury County residents. This is something that's crucial. We not only hope that, but we expect our law enforcement officers to be able to react to tough situations. This simulator gives them the opportunity to do it as a practice session rather than having to go through this in real life without that crucial training. It's surprising how realistic it is. I mean, we know it'll be able to be utilized for crucial scenarios, not only for the Sioux City Police Department, but for the county and regional officers all over. So these types of simulators, this training session is fantastic to put them into these real life scenarios. You know, as we become more aware of the situations our officers are put in, these types of training simulators, or this simulator specifically, helps us to sleep at night.